this. I'm gonna need the boy moms to say this with me 5 times fast. Spousal love comes from our husbands, not our...
Hey guys, I'm Hannah Cox with BASEDPolitics, and you're watching my show Histrionics, where every week I offer a sane, centrist viewpoint on women's issues. If you like this video, don't forget to check out others in the series Histrionics and subscribe to the channel. As you can probably tell from my intro today, we are talking about boy moms. Now, before we jump into the subject, I have to make a big, bold clarification that I'll probably make several times throughout this video because I know how defensive mothers can get. Not all moms who have sons are boy moms. Boy moms is a specific type of mother who has directed the majority of their attention and affection and validation towards their son. I like to think of the boy mom as kind of like a subset of the pick-me girl energy that we talked about several videos back in this series. But this time, instead of that energy being directed towards other women in the pursuit of male romantic interest, it's directed at their son. And oftentimes they become very competitive with their son's girlfriends, fiancés, and future wives in the process. Ultimately, when a woman is trapped in this boy mom sort of mentality, their enemy becomes any other woman who might get their son's affection, who might hurt his feelings, hold him to accountability for his actions, or in any way make her feel threatened about the status of her relationship and her place in his life. Now, just to back me up on this, so you're not just getting my personal definition of the boy mom phenomenon, I'm gonna turn to USA Today. They write, in the past, it was used simply by certain moms who had boy children, but the term has become far more complicated and nuanced in recent years thanks to social media. A, quote, boy mom is something of a negative character archetype oft recognized on the internet. The term itself is slang to refer to a specific kind of parent who is perceived as being overtly fixated on their male children, often to the detriment of other female children or people in their lives. They go on to say a mother may be called a, quote, boy mom if she talks about or displays signs of favoring her male children over her female children, expresses a distaste for girl children and enthusiasm for boys based solely on gender, speaks about her son in a way that viewers perceive as being almost romantic, hyperfixates on her male child's gender and all things boy, or if she gives special treatment to her sons through coddling and obvious favoritism. As the internet will quickly tell you, every mom who happens to have male children is not a, quote, boy mom. A mom of boys is a neutral identifier, while a certified boy mom is a mom who displays certain kinds of behaviors or subscribes to certain ideals. Now, not only is this a type of personality that is discussed amongst other women, there are plenty of boy moms who readily identify themselves, particularly on TikTok. And not long ago, one of them went absolutely viral for a completely unhinged video she made about her feelings towards her son. She has since taken that video down because there was so much backlash, but I managed to grab a stitch of that video. So watch this.
My son I obviously am obsessed with Stevie Lee. She is just the greatest little girl in the world. But my whole life, I always wanted to be a boy mom.
I thought this was satire. She's dead serious. Boy moms are something else because they'll do the whole, no, I love my girls, but my boy, just so you know, your daughter knows. Let me tell you, as the daughter of a boy mom, we know, even though you say, oh, no, I love you, we can tell. Like, you know how they always say kids know if one parent is having an affair or if the parents are unhappy and they're like, we're staying together for the kids. And then people are like, no, the kids know on some level. It's the same thing when you're playing favorites as a boy mom to your boy. Your daughter knows on a gut level. And the fucked up thing is, by the time you realize that I'm right about this, it's gonna be too late. It's fucked up. I don't care how much you're gonna be like, oh, I love my daughter, I'm obsessed with her, but he has my whole heart. I promise you, you exude that in I mean, aside from the fact that you just came on and admitted it out loud on TikTok, to all the other boy moms, your girls feel that shit more than you realize. You exude it in every way, in every possible way. You don't need to tell us you love your boys more. It is obvious.
Now, I am in a family where there are 2 boy children and 2 female children, and I have to give my mom a shout out here because even though I think at times she identified a bit more with my brother, she was kind of more of a tomboy, she liked to play outside and do more adventurous things, she never expressed favoritism. She has always done her best to treat all of us equally, and I think her and my dad really do love all of us equally. But what has amazed me over the years is the outside commentary towards our family and the number of people who will outright admit that they prefer my brothers to my sister and I. Now, we are both very strong and confident women. This actually does not faze us. We think it's rather hilarious at this point. But my dad is a pastor of a large church, and we continue to go back there for holidays and many other just special occasions. So we're still at the church a good bit. And what is so funny is that when you're a pastor's kid, all the church members usually want to come over and talk to you. They want to catch up. They want to say hi. And we love that. But the number of people who will do that and then in the same breath be like, it's so good to see you girls, but man, I love your brothers. Or like, your brothers just have a special place in my heart. Like, I really love the boys in your family. It is unhinged. And I don't think we're the only family that experiences this. I often see this reaction from women when they find out a friend of theirs or another woman is expecting a boy as well. Watch.
So second baby, what is it, boy or girl? Oh, it's a boy. Yes, thank God. Why is that a thank God? Well, you know, now you finally get to feel a mother's love. I mean, I love my daughter. Right, but with a boy, it's just different. Okay, I have a lot of problems, but I don't have your problem.
I frankly think it's patently weird to prefer one child or another based on their gender. And that's because, as I've talked about on this series in the past, I don't think gender determines your personality or your interest. And when you subscribe to the view that it does, that all girls want to play dress up and all girls just want to think about being mothers one day and boys get to be rough and tumble and do all the fun stuff, that's actually a really harmful point of view to put on your kids. Not only that, but as one commentator in a video I already rolled said, the girls do notice. They do feel the difference in how you treat them and the boys when you are being raised by a quote boy mom. And they've actually done some studies on this that show it has a real impact on their academic achievements. This is from the University of California, but they write American parents still prefer boys and it's hurting their daughters' test scores. And according to their report, they write, parents who favor the birth of boys tend to have daughters who score on average of 3 percentage points lower on standardized math tests than girls raised in other types of families. The results track whether parents stop having children based on gender or simply display attitudes and behaviors that reinforce traditional gender roles. Boys' math performances, meanwhile, were not affected. They go on to say that Americans have long favored boys over girls, a bias rooted in ancient gender roles. Since 1941, Gallup polls have found that if Americans could have only one child, they'd rather it be a son. Last year's poll found that 36% would prefer having a boy, 28% would prefer a girl. Younger adults and those with less education are more inclined towards boys, but the main distinction is between men and women. Women are split, 31% want a girl, 30% a boy, but 43% of men still prefer a son to 24% who prefer a daughter. That's honestly just really sad and something people need to examine and grapple with. But what makes the boy mom phenomenon creepiest of all is not just that they prefer to have sons, it is the fact that they seem to be in love with their sons, to have romantic feelings towards them. And it gives a lot of people, me included, the ick.
Aw, young love. I remember that feeling. My first boyfriend.
That's his mom.
What?
That's not his girlfriend, that's his mom.
What? What?
Can you imagine if the gender roles were reversed in that scenario? Jail. Immediately jail.
You'll be his first kiss, his first love, his first friend. You are his mom, and he is your whole world. He's your little boy.
It's just not really normal to see yourself in these terms of being his first love, the first woman in his life. You are his mother. You are his parental figure. And yes, that is a special bond. But when you start taking it into these other extremes, it gets very incestuous very quickly.
The thing with having sons is you know they won't be yours forever, but for now, you are their girl. Caption says that the thought of them getting married is so bittersweet already. Come on, tell me you've thought about it and I'm not alone here, haha. Well, the good news is you are not alone. I think Sigmund Freud actually has a very similar view on this. I'm gonna need the boy moms to say this with me 5 times fast. Spousal love comes from our husbands, not our sons. The thought of my toddler son thinking that I am, quote, his girl has genuinely never crossed my mind. I am his mother. It's interesting how in the caption, the only aspect of him growing up that she's worried about is him getting married. It's not, oh, the day he goes off to college will be bittersweet, the day he moves out will be bittersweet. It's the wedding day that's bittersweet. I wonder why.
Like, are these people okay? Genuinely, they make me feel like I need to call child services. Ultimately, I don't think it's very hard to see what's going on in these situations. I think there are a lot of women who are very unhappy in their marriages and they are getting that romantic void filled by their sons, but that's creepy and weird. And I dread the future their sons have with all romantic partners. I cannot fathom being in a relationship with a mother-in-law who has this mentality. These are the kinds of moms that eventually get cut off, where they end up going no contact, and then they come to TikTok and they cry and they're like, I don't know what I ever did other than try to basically date my son and prevent him from having romantic bonds with other women. It's weird. You need to have boundaries with your kids. You need to have a strong understanding of where your role begins and ends, especially as they get older. Good parents are focused on creating children who are ready for the world, who have some resiliency, who can go out and be good people and hopefully make the world a better place. They are working on preparing them for partnerships, and not just for partnerships, but for long-lasting partnerships. And I know a lot of divorce has wrecked that for many kids, but ultimately your goal in being a parent is partly to model marriage for them and what it means to actually be sacrificial and to put your partner first. These women are clearly not doing that for their sons. And what ends up happening oftentimes is, one, again, they get cut off and removed because they don't have healthy boundaries and they're toxic personalities. Or two, they create sons who have a very messed up mentality about a woman's role in a relationship, what he should be looking for from a partner, and how he should be required to show up and be a good partner in return. And that's honestly my biggest beef with boy moms and why I want to make this episode, because I think they are contributing to the destruction of society, where we have a real void out there of true masculinity. When you raise a son free of accountability, when you act like the world revolves around him, when you prevent to ensure that he understands there are repercussions for his actions, when you don't work to instill in him how a real man should rise up and treat the woman he's with, which includes, again, eventually leaving you and your husband for his new family and showing up for them and putting them first, you're failing as a parent, but you're also failing society. And then the other women out there in the dating pool have to come in and clean up your mess. You're ultimately not raising men, you're raising boys who come out into the world and expect women to continue to coddle them and who are not capable of taking care of themselves, much less a family.
Brothers will say this about their sister when they don't realize they were babied and coddled too much growing up, and their sister wasn't. The sister's expected to be mature, responsible, take care of things, while the brother's expected to be incapable of doing any of that. Oh, he's just, boys will be boys. He's just messy. He's always breaking things. He's just running around. He has little outbursts, right? Boys will be boys. Your sister got in trouble if she did any of that. So that breeds resentment. This happens because men have forced women to take care of them, and they act like they're incapable of doing it themselves. This is not women hating women. This is men making women hate each other. I will never forget one car ride with my brother. We're going to school, and I'm like, what a beautiful blue sky. And my brother's like, no, it's green. And I'm like, no, it's blue. No, it's green. I'm right. No, dude, it's blue. Jessica, shh. It's green. It's okay. Just don't bother. We don't want him to have a burst. No burst. You're damn right I fucking resent that. Do you think either of them have any memory of that? Absolutely not. My mom would serve my brothers every beck and call. I would never have the audacity to ask her to do half the shit he did. And I resented the fact that she was doing it. You see this all the time. Oh, the boys just need a little extra help. No, they fucking don't. They need to be treated as if they are competent, and they will become competent. And the crazy thing is, men have been complaining forever. My wife doesn't want to sleep with me. My girlfriend doesn't want to, as soon as we got married, my wife doesn't want to sleep with me anymore. You act like a baby. Why would she be attracted to you? You can't even clean your own ass or ears properly. You don't know how to unload a dishwasher. You can't cook your children a meal without feeling like you deserve a pat on the back. Why would she be attracted to you? And then when men hear us say, you need to learn how to take care of yourself, they think, what do you mean men are the ones who take care of everyone? We have to get the paycheck. You have to get a paycheck whether you're married or not. You're still making that money whether you're married or not, okay? She doesn't have to do any of that shit if she doesn't have you. What the fuck? But the issue is when men run society and they tell women over and over and over, they're incompetent. Oh, I don't know how to do nothing but make money. Moms will treat their sons like that. And then your sister will resent your mom. It's no different. There's competition in between women because men pit us against each other. That's how it works. And I love my mom and brother, and we had a fuck childhood, so I love that they're close and they have a good relationship and they talk regularly. And my mom's told me, like, I love it. It means so much to me that he reaches out and asks for help with things and still needs me, my little boy. And she tells me what he asked for help with, oh yeah, he called me, wanted to know how to turn the oven on, cook a chicken breast. You told him to Google it, right? No, I walked him through it. Why is it you think this adult man doesn't know how to do that? Because you coddled him as a kid. I was cooking fucking chicken breast in your kitchen at like 12. Well, no, I didn't even want to talk to you. Like, are you trying to bring out my childhood trauma? I know this is like your happiness, but it's my trauma. So, no thank you. You think women just don't like each other? 10 billion times in my life, I've been sitting on the couch with my mom and brother, and he goes, hey, can you please give me a cup of water, Mom? Mom, if you get off this couch and do that for him one more time, I will fucking walk out that front. She does it every time. You think that's because I don't like women? Or I don't like men who don't respect women and the women who don't even realize they're being disrespected and teaching them it's okay. So if you're a man, you're probably not watching this, but you think, yeah, my mom and sister just didn't get along. Ask her, hey, did mom treat us differently? And buckle the fuck up.
I think this sentiment is becoming much more prevalent. Women are getting smarter. Their economic opportunities have never been better. And as a whole, they are choosing to stay single rather than to partner with the products of boy moms. They don't want to take on a man child. And so if you are one of these mothers who is raising your kid in this toxic environment, again, not only are you harming society, you're ultimately harming them, because these are the same boys when they reach adulthood who are going to be crying online and red pill communities, whining about being incels and how they can't get a girlfriend, how women just have unrealistic standards. No, women have standards where they no longer want to be stuck in these awful, degrading situations where they wait on a man hand and foot, where he's incapable of actually bringing things to the table and being an equal partner. You need to be raising him so that he is ready to show up as an actual man in society. And if he doesn't, he's going to end up alone and miserable at this point.
Pretty much, I think everything went wrong with our two-parent household, like during the 80s, 90s. So the people who are dating now, the 20s, 30s, they were born in the 80s, 90s. And if you were raised in a two-parent household, then you likely had a similar upbringing as me, where mom had to work a job, but also do all the responsibilities of the house. It was like a weird time between like the 1950s, women didn't work at all. And then women are getting into the workforce, but they're still expected to do all the things that they were doing in the 50s. And my household was no different. And I feel like my dad was kind of extra harsh, but nonetheless, I'm sure a lot of you it resonates with you that your mom did it all. And I think my brothers were raised and they didn't even see any of like the pain in my mom. I think that they were like, cool, mom's happy, dad's happy, everyone's happy, and mom does everything, so I want a wife that's going to do everything. Only I would like see my mom roll her eyes, when she walked in the room to fluff laundry after my dad just yelled at her for moving the trash can. I would see the pain. I don't know if it's because I'm a woman and I was in tune to it. I know my sister felt it too. But I remember at a young age being like, I am never going to turn out like my mom. I am always going to make my own money. I'm not going to have kids too early. I am going to make sure that no matter what, I do not end up like this. But my brothers were like, I want to end up just like this. Dad's so happy. Mom does everything. All he has to do is pay the bills. So fast forward, my brothers are, now they're the age, one of them's 2 years younger than me. They're my age group. They're my peers. They are men that, if they weren't related to me, obviously I would not date my brothers, but they would be prospective suitors. And they are looking for their moms, essentially, right? Which is normal. They're looking for women who are going to be like their moms, who do it all, who work, who do it all. Only our moms accidentally, inadvertently raised us to be like, no, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. And I appreciate her for her sacrifice, but no offense, Mom, I didn't want to end up like you. And I'm so glad that I haven't, but I just think we're in this phase where until we raise sons who are used to being around women who are also successful, we're going to be we're like oil and water. Like our age group, we don't like each other because the men want their moms and the women don't want to be like their moms.
Watching this reminds me of another video that went viral recently. I didn't put it in my show notes, so I'll see if I can find it to include. But it's this guy who comes on. Number one, he gives no appearance of being a straight man, but I guess he claims that he is. But anyways, he comes on and he's popping off on feminists. He's like, feminists keep trying to say that men just want to marry their mom, and no, we don't. We just want to marry like classic women who know how to cook and to clean. It's like, so you just admitted it. You do want a mom. You want somebody to come in and take care of you like you're a little boy. Anyways, he got absolutely rolled on the internet. One, because again, people were really not sure he wanted a woman at all. But secondarily, because he didn't even hear his own hypocrisy in making this ridiculous statement. I do really like what the woman in the previous video just said, though, because this is pretty much the entire reason I wanted to launch this show, Histrionics. I do think culture matters. It has an impact on public policy. You see a stark divide continuing to escalate, where men are moving increasingly to the far right and women are moving increasingly to the far left. I think both are toxic, deadly ideologies. I would like to see everybody much more over here in sane central land. But I think part of that drive is that there are such bad relations between genders right now. And it really is turning females and men against each other, which is not good for society, and it's not good on an individual level either. But I think in order to fix those gender relations, we have to have honest conversations about what healthy men and women look like nowadays, what an equal partnership should entail, and how you can really show up in a way that is meaningful and that is desirable in a relationship when all things are equal financially and under the law. And ultimately, to get there, it's going to take a lot of people doing self-work, individual work, introspection. It's also going to take parents being more intentional in how they are raising their boys and girls, how they are instructing them, the full picture they're giving them of what it means for the other gender to operate in this landscape and this world and what they're looking for and what their experience is like. You have to be the one to initially create that empathy and lay that foundation with your kids. And that's true for parents of women as much as it is boys, but I just don't see this same kind of mentality or phenomenon happening around female kids as I do boy kids. And again, the impacts of that are already very recognizable out in society as these people age into the general population. Now, recently, the female pop singer Shakira posted something online around the Barbie movie, and I want to talk about it because I think her approach is dead ass wrong and the opposite of what moms should be doing in order to actually educate their sons on these really vital, important conversations and equipping them to enter a world where they are going to be faced with these issues on a larger scale as they enter the dating pool. In an interview with Allure, Shakira said, "My sons absolutely hated it," again, referring to the Barbie movie. "They felt that it was emasculating. And I agree to a certain extent. I'm raising two boys. I want them to feel powerful too, while respecting women. I like pop culture when it attempts to empower women without robbing men of their possibility to be men, to also protect and provide. I believe in giving women all the tools and the trust that we can do it all without losing our essence, without losing our femininity. I think that men have a purpose in society and women have another purpose as well. We complement each other and that complement should not be lost." I have a lot of thoughts about Shakira's statement, but before I go to my own thoughts, I want to roll Christian Walker's. Christian Walker is the son of Herschel Walker. He does a ton of commentary on TikTok. I think he's hilarious. Christian, if you watch this, I want to be your BFF. I also live in Atlanta. Let's hang out. But he had an excellent take on Shakira's statement.
So Shakira has come out against the Barbie movie and said that her sons felt emasculated by it. This is not going to be me slamming Shakira. I love Shakira. I came on here and supported her when her husband had another woman up in her house cheating on her, probably because he felt emasculated by her power and success as a woman. So I love Shakira. I want to say three things about her comments. One, she says she likes pop culture when it empowers women without robbing men of their masculinity, but that's the problem. The modern man feels emasculated simply by the modern woman existing. The modern woman having success, being empowered, having a movie to go see with her girlfriends that isn't directly catered towards a man makes the modern man feel like, wait, what? It's not all about me. I feel emasculated. Women shouldn't have to alter their entire lives so you don't feel emasculated. Man up. Two, it's crazy that Barbie was the phenomenon that it was. It's smashing records. People are dressing in pink. They're throwing Barbie-themed parties. And it almost felt like just because the girly pops were having fun and they had something fun for them over the summer, men got angry about it. They're like posting think pieces saying they feel emasculated, going off. Like, no one forced you to go see the movie. You're welcome to stay home and watch the Lego movie. You're welcome to go see the Mario Kart movie or whatever. No one forced you to go see the movie. Like, women are allowed to have things for them too. And clearly when they do have things, things, it's huge, smashing box office records. Just like Desperate Housewives. Desperate Housewives was turned down all these times, and then it went 8 seasons, 9 seasons, because it was catered towards women. Women are allowed to have programming too. The third thing I want to say is just a note to boy moms, because I've had it. My mom's a boy mom. I'm her only child, and she didn't raise me coddling my bad behavior. If I did something wrong, she called me out, and she didn't raise me to be comfortable all the time. Shakira saying her 9 and 11-year-old felt emasculated by the Barbie movie. Okay, if my son felt emasculated by a Barbie movie, I would say to him, well, we need to go do some inner work so you're not emasculated by a woman existing or by a pink movie. This is ridiculous. Boy moms who coddle their children, coddle their boys, and think that their boys have to be comfortable all the time, raise narcissistic adults who then go on to wreak havoc in other women's lives. I've had it with this crap. I am so sorry, boy moms and men everywhere who hated the box office record-breaking smash hit Barbie. No one dragged you to the theater. Stay home and watch Legos next time.
Perfect delivery, Christian. I agree 100%. He left no crumbs. If the Barbie movie made you feel emasculated, it's probably because you're a little bitch and aren't that masculine to begin with. Let's be so freaking honest. I could not stand the backlash against the Barbie movie. I personally thought it was great. I thought it had a lot of depth. I thought it managed to talk about very heavy, important subjects in a lighthearted way that was actually entertaining, very difficult to do. I saw it twice, and I even made a whole video dissecting it on my YouTube if you want to go back and watch it. Now, the reason that you heard some men get all in their feelings after seeing Barbie is because it was thought-provoking, and the beginning of it portrayed a world where things were unequal, but in this world, it was unequal towards women. And the point in making you uncomfortable was to force you to enter a realm, an imaginary realm, where you could develop some empathy and understanding for the way that women lived throughout history for centuries until very, very recently, and even in many ways still today. Now, in the US, I do think we have achieved equality under the law. There's still a lot more cultural work to be done for people to actually treat women equally, but I would not say that there is a ton of legal work still to be done. But in many places, there still are. There are still many, many countries where women are treated like second-class citizens. So it is a very important thing for them to portray and to do it in a way where it made men realize how unjust and unfair and dehumanizing that actually is. The fact that so many men saw that movie and saw that opening and their takeaway was that this was some kind of threat against them, that this was putting them down, that this was some kind of attack on men is completely, it just makes me think they're stupid. Honestly, if it went that far over your head, it really does, because that was not the message. And it didn't really seem like it should have been that difficult to grasp, just to be bluntly honest. If your son or your husband or your partner or your male friend or your brother or your uncle or your grandfather saw Barbie and felt emasculated, then they need to examine that and figure out what their masculinity is actually based on. And then they need to do some soul searching to figure out why that made them feel so bad, why it was so unjust, why it was so triggering to them, and then work to ensure that we have a society that truly does treat both sexes equal. That was actually the point of the Barbie movie. And the point of the Barbie movie was that women can be empowered and women can have amazing lives without having to give up their femininity. You didn't see a single woman in that movie have to give up being pretty, wearing pretty clothes, enjoying girly things in order to be empowered. So while I think Shakira severely missed the mark, I do want to point to a number of women on TikTok and online who I've seen actually engaging in these conversations in very intellectual and empowering ways. And I want to point to them because I think there is so much ultimate good that mothers of sons can be doing to prepare their sons for society, for their future partners, and to ensure that they have the tools they need to be wholly developed, self-aware people as well. Because I don't want to let this fact go throughout the series. It's something I continue to return to. I don't think men are thriving right now. I don't think they're doing very well. You can point to a number of factors that show that, from the loneliness epidemic to their suicide rates, to their addiction issues, and also to the whole manosphere, where you see so much angst and unhappiness and just utter venom coming out of these men online. And I think that's because they are very hurt people. They're very wounded people. They haven't been given the tools that they need to become accomplished, to become good husbands, good fathers. And that is in large part thanks to the failures of parents. The school system too, for sure. And oftentimes the government intervening in the market in ways that has hurt all of us. But I do think I place majority of the burden on parents for not preparing their sons better for the current world and environment they're coming into. When I worked in criminal justice reform, we often had a phrase we use that is definitely an oversimplification, but nevertheless true, which is that hurt people hurt people. And when you see men acting out in these really angry, mean, aggressive ways online, especially in my comments on some of these videos, you have to remember ultimately it's because these people are not doing well. Nobody who is doing well in life spends their time bullying people in the comments. Nobody who is thriving in life is spending time online ranting about women. It's just not reality. So let's look at what a few moms of sons, not boy moms, are doing to prepare their kids, and maybe the boy moms can take some notes. I absolutely love this video. Her caption actually says, "Teaching my son to be comfortable with expressing his feelings so your daughter doesn't have to." Praise Jesus. If you've done any research into attachment theory, there is a lot of evidence that shows more men have avoidance attachment issues, whereas more women have anxious avoidance. And so I hypothesize that that is not because there is something innate within men that makes them avoidant, but because our society is not preparing them to confront hard feelings, to learn how to talk about issues, to learn how to turn to others and express themselves and ask for help. And again, this is something that needs to begin in childhood. If you're doing a good job as a parent, you are teaching your kid those skill sets. You're teaching them healthy conflict resolution. You're teaching them to ask for help when they need to. You're creating an environment where they can be vulnerable with you, where they have high trust in you as a parental figure because you treat them like a parental figure rather than like a mom who is desperately looking for you to fill whatever void her husband is not.
Hi, this is me practicing to be a good boy mom, mother-in-law in the future. So let me know how I do. Okay, ready, Dakota? All right, here we go. Hey, yeah, of course we can come to you guys for Christmas. No problem. We don't have any kids at home. We'll pack up and come to you. That felt good. What do you think? All right, let's try again. Here we go. Of course your mom should be in the delivery room with you. I will be right out here in the waiting room if y'all need me, and I'm so excited. Love you guys so much. That was good. Yep. I'm so glad that Dakota is putting you guys first. That's what we raised him to do. So happy that he's being a good partner to you. Of course I'd love to babysit. Whenever. Let me know. You can just drop him off. Yeah, that was good. Did you just spit up on me? Oh no, okay, we're good. You know what? I probably should have showed him how to do that, and I'm sorry about that. My son better be treating you with respect, because I will whoop his ass. Doesn't matter how old he is. Exactly.
I love that last video. And whoever marries little baby Dakota sounds like they're going to have not only a great husband who is well equipped to show up for them, but also a great mother-in-law, which I think we can all hope for. All right, guys, that's a wrap. Leave me a comment. Let me know your thoughts. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you next week. If you like this episode, don't forget to check out others in the series Histrionics here, and you can watch my other weekly show, Hannah Explains It All, here.